6:35, we check back in now with Mike Apple for the latest in business. And Mike, a really tough go when it comes to the markets lately.
It sure has. Tammy, good morning. We've seen stocks slide quite a bit here over the past several weeks, so much so that the fourth quarter of the year has been just a miserable time for investors. We've got Wall Street starting today with the Dow at its lowest level since May. The TSX is very close to a two-year low. All of this on concern that 2019 might see a slowdown in the global economy. We've had rising interest rates over the course of this year for the Bank of Canada and the U.S. Federal Reserve. Early on, things look really quite strong for Wall Street. In fact, we saw mid-year records for the blue chip and the tech benchmarks, but since then it's fizzled out a little bit here on worries about trade risks between the U.S. and China, a slowdown in earnings, again, rising interest rates and all these things culminating with a drop in the fourth quarter so far for the Dow of 9% and the Nasdaq's down 14%. Now, coming up this week, we've got the U.S. Federal Reserve set to potentially raise interest rates for a fourth time this year on Wednesday afternoon. The talk has been that the U.S. economy is still strong right now, at least. Retail spending has been good, and inflation is starting to build, so data points that the U.S. Central Bank will say need to raise interest rates. The risk is that they go too far, raise interest rates too far too soon, and dent the economy in the U.S. specifically going into 2019. And keep in mind, pretty much every other central bank now, including the Bank of Canada, is on hold for the time being when it comes to interest rate policy. Well, we talked about it ad nauseum going up to the October 17th legalization date, and we've been talking about it a lot since then, of course. And the legalization of cannabis named the top business story of 2018, according to a survey done by the Canadian Press of newsroom editors across the country. A 60% vote, and that's a very wide margin, actually, to select the new business news story of the year. But let's face it, it was about the cannabis companies, many of them reaching multi-billion-dollar market valuations, hitting records in most cases just before cannabis legalization took effect on October 17th. We've seen the slow rollout of retail, of course, the political and legal implications for all of this, and now the slow rollout of, retail pot shops in this province specifically. Just 25 will be legalized as of April 1st next year because of the supply shortage of cannabis. And Roger, of note, and, you know, this kind of puts it in perspective how big that story was when other top candidates this year were the NAFTA renegotiations.
Kind of a big deal.
That was kind of a big deal, too. And the buyout of the Trans Mountain Pipeline by the federal government, the pipeline protests and everything going on in Western Canada. So a big story, news year, certainly, in business.
Yeah, but cannabis was what was on everybody's lips,
that's
right?
That's what everybody was talking about.
Yeah, you know it. All right, Mike. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.